Hi, thank you for joining TextBroker's Content Marketing 101, providing quality content to earn customers' trust. Today we're going to be going over the basics of content marketing to help you create a content marketing strategy that helps you get sales. I'm Jennifer Beaupre, and I'm in marketing here at TextBroker. You can reach me at jenbeaupre@textbroker.com. Additionally, you can find us on social media at TextBroker on Twitter, TextBroker International on Facebook, and LinkedIn. So today we're going to talk about content marketing and why content marketing is a vital part of your online marketing strategy. We will go over what content resonates best with customers and potential customers, how to measure content marketing success, how to create and maintain a content calendar, other benefits of content marketing including search engine optimization and social media, and how TextBroker helps companies excel with their content marketing. So first, to start off, we need to discuss what is content marketing. Content marketing is the practice of using content to attract and retain customers by consistently creating and curating relevant and valuable content with the intention of changing or enhancing consumer behavior. So today's brands are also publishers. It is essential to provide quality content to gain your customers' trust. So content marketing is creating a story that a user on the internet can find and read and is interesting enough to them to lead them back to your brand. What content marketing is not is a direct advertisement of your products and services. The best content marketing that you can do is provide information that helps educate your customers or provide some thought leadership so that they can have a positive brand image and come back to your brand. So why do you do content marketing? As we all know, traditional advertising and marketing has become less effective in recent years. When you log on to the internet or any social media channel, you're bombarded with advertisements, and most users in today's world tend to not even look at those advertisements. And it's becoming a less and less effective way of marketing. Advertising is expensive, and people have become immune to seeing so many ads. Web users, additionally, they really like to be informed when making purchases. In previous years, the sales team was the person that's doing the education portion. But today, users are doing 57% of their research before they actually go into the sales buying process. So what they're doing is they're looking online for information before they're reaching out to a salesperson that's going to sell them. So they're going into Google and looking in the search bar for the information that they need. They're reaching out to their friends. They're reading industry experts' blogs. They're looking at their friends' recommendations on social media far before they ever decide to make a purchase. So it's essential that companies have content out there that can help them make informed purchasing decisions. Additionally, content is valuable for search engine optimization. This means that when a person goes into the search bar in a search engine like Google or Bing, that they find content that answers their query and leads them back to your website or brand. Content marketing for consumers is interesting, entertaining, helpful, and informative. It's not overt salesy. It's not an overt sales for your company or your products or services. And finally, content marketing is essential because it helps you capture leads and move them through the sales cycle in order to make a sale, which is what every business wants. Companies today are investing up to 30% of their marketing budget into content marketing. Because of that, it's essential that companies create more and more content that's relevant to their customers. Why do they do that? Why are they investing more marketing budget into content marketing? One is because advertising is not as effective anymore, as we just discussed, and they need ways to generate leads, increase their reach and recognition, develop a positive brand image and perception, develop their customers along the buying cycle, and even help them make future purchasing decisions, such as an upsell or a recurring purchase. And then the benefit of content marketing is additionally with search engine optimization. The more high quality content that you have out there that can lead back to your website and your products and services can only help you in search engine rankings. So where does content actually live? If you're going to create content, where are you going to put it? Not only do you put it on your website, but you also put it on social media sites, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Vimeo. Content is not only the written word, but it can also be images and videos. You can always put text behind those images and videos that will help Google lead people back to you from your content. Content lives in the form of blogs and news articles, white papers, case studies. It is also in the form of presentations. So presentations like this are going to be out on SlideShare, and they're going to be hosted on channels like Vimeo and YouTube. Clear and consistent messaging across all of your platforms and all of your content is essential. You never know where your potential customers are going to find you first, so you want to make sure that you have a consistent brand image, that you use keywords in your content, and that you have a consistent and clear message across all of that content. How do you know what content your customers want? How do you create a content marketing strategy? So a content marketing strategy is essential in doing successful content marketing. You are far less effective if you just create one-off pieces of content that do not follow a strategy. Content is a tricky strategy because you don't always know what will be well received by your customers. But in a marketing strategy, it's essential to understand what is the story that you are trying to tell. What are you trying to help your customers understand, and how are you trying to present yourself as a brand? When you have that strategy, you then need to understand where you're going to distribute your content and how you're going to make that content more shareable. We'll talk about that a little bit more. A good case study for a great content marketing company is Red Bull. Red Bull is an energy drink. However, Red Bull has highly effective content marketing campaigns that all of us can relate to and recognize. Red Bull in October of 2012 did a Stratus project. So Felix Baumgartner ascended to 128,000 feet in a stratospheric balloon and jumped at supersonic speeds back down to the Earth. This created more than 80 million views on YouTube. So this was a fantastic content marketing campaign. They were able to send this person up into space and jump back down to Earth. They filmed it and then shared that content across multiple social media channels, including a website, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and this particular content campaign went viral. They created a lot of textual content around this. They created a lot of imagery and a lot of video content that was then shareable. This particular content did not talk specifically about an energy drink. The campaign was Red Bull Gives You Wings, and they created an interesting story that went along with that particular campaign idea. Then they created content which was about the story of this guy jumping down to space, and they shared it across all of their channels, including their shared media channels and their own media channels. From there, they were able to have people share that content because it was so interesting and something that had never been done before. From that, Red Bull had the benefit of getting more followers, more brand recognition, and solidified their brand image of being a cool and interesting company. So when creating your content marketing strategy, it's important to understand the buyer funnel. People go through a variety of stages when they are deciding to purchase a product. First, they go through the education stage, then the qualification stage, and then finally they go into purchase. The education stage in today's digital world has changed. Previously, if you didn't know about a brand new vacuum cleaner, the vacuum cleaner sales guy would knock on your front door and do a demonstration of the vacuum. In today's world, you go to Google and search for best vacuum cleaner. From there, you can educate yourself in a variety of different ways about all the different types of vacuum cleaners that are out there and all of the price points that you can look at. You can read reviews, you can read articles, you can look at different people's recommendations and how they felt about buying a specific vacuum. After that, you go into the qualification phase of the buyer funnel. This is where people start to compare and contrast products, look for recommendations, and then ultimately it takes them into their purchasing decision. So how much content should you make for each level of the content funnel? I recommend that 80% of your content is geared towards the education or brand awareness, with 15% in the qualification stage and only 5% about your product in the purchase information. The reason that you do that is because it takes a lot of content in order to reach customers so that they think of you when they are making purchasing decisions. They are inundated with advertisements, inundated with content, and inundated with emails having people asking them to buy their products. So creating a lot of high-value content that will help educate people can really improve brand awareness and help create a positive brand image. A good example of this would be if someone was wanting to travel with their children on a summer vacation. Typically what they're going to do is they're not going to go immediately to Hilton.com and find a hotel that's relevant to them. They might go into Google and search for best travel spots for summer vacation with children. From there, they're going to read blog posts. They're going to see where their friends went. They're going to do a lot of research on different areas of the world that they want to travel to, from travel magazines, from their friends, from blogs. From there, they're going to start to narrow it down to where they want to go. That's when they get into the qualification stage. So maybe they've decided that they want to go to Disneyland in California with their children. So now they're going to search specifically for hotels at Disneyland in California that are kid-friendly. From here, we want to make sure that we're providing content that speaks to that specific buying stage. They already know that they want to be in Disneyland. They know that they're traveling with kids. So we want to make sure that we're providing interesting information for them that's going to help them make a purchasing decision. Maybe you've created a blog about the top 5 things to remember when you're traveling with kids, so that they actually land on that content and read it, it's relevant to them, and then somewhere in the post it's leading them back to the Hilton hotel that you're trying to advertise. Finally, once they've reached their purchase decision, they've decided that they want to stay at that Hilton in Disneyland with their children, you want to provide product information to help them make that decision and help that go quickly. You want to make sure that you have reviews on the site. You want to make sure that there's relevant information about the amenities that they're going to have and make that purchasing process easy for them. So developing buyer personas is extremely important. You want to understand who is your buyer and where are they in their purchasing stage. Once you understand who your buyer is, then you can create focused content. It's important to think about who your buyer is and to create a buyer persona, because lots of different types of people could be buying your product. I like to use the example of a travel customer if someone is booking airfare. Many times people travel for work, and they are executive travelers that are traveling Monday through Friday for business reasons. Then there's also the family traveler that does maybe 2 trips a year and they're traveling with children. Those are very different buyer personas. The executive level traveler needs different amenities than the rare traveler that's traveling with a family. So you want to make sure that you take that buyer persona and then understand where they are in the lead stage. The buyer persona of the mom with kids, is she just in the education stage? Is she in the qualification stage or the purchase stage? And then you want to take a look at that executive level traveler and know he's in the educational qualification or purchase stage. Then you create content that's geared towards each of them. Some examples of educational content include website content, blog content, and social media content. Qualification examples could mean case studies, ROI calculators, usage scenarios, travel reviews, anything that's going to help them compare your product to another product and differentiate you. And finally, you want to have purchase content. That could be data sheets, tutorials, a knowledge center, FAQs, things that help them understand why purchasing your product is better than purchasing your competitors. Once you have this content, how do you measure your content marketing success? It's important to set goals and then understand how people found you. You can use tools like Google Analytics to help you track a user's entrance and referral point. You can find out if they landed on your blog because they clicked on something on Twitter, or if they landed on your blog because they did an organic search for it. You can then set up conversion goals to determine the source of each sale. Some companies are able to make a sale immediately through their website, and some companies need to have a salesperson contact that potential consumer to help them develop out typically a more expensive sale. So you want to understand where your content is coming from, and then once they land on your content, how you can move them through the buying process most effectively, whether or not that's with a shopping cart or with a sales team. Finally, you want to measure the value of sales versus the cost of content marketing. Content marketing in an organic way, the expense that you have is creating and publishing the content. When you're using tools like PPC or pay-per-click or paid advertisement, you can also include that in your content marketing budget. Additionally, sometimes you can help distribute your content by using influencers, a press firm, and other types of advertisement like banner ads. Once you know where your customers are coming from and what your goals for sales are, you also want to look at social signals. You want to know how your content is doing. One indication is shares, likes, and comments on your posts. So keep track of the number of shares, views, and impressions that each piece of your content receives. Most social media platforms provide analytics, and there are even some tools out there that will take a look at your overall social media analytics. They will let you know how many people viewed your content, how many people shared it with their friends, how many people liked it or retweeted it or repinned it. And then it will also help you understand and look at the comments section. Good content typically will have a call to action that encourages people to interact with that content. You want to make sure that your content is easily shareable from your website, and you want to make sure that people have the ability to get involved in the conversation. If you're creating an interesting story, you want to make sure that you're able to hear from your customers about what they think and about what their experience is. And the more engagement that you have with a particular piece of content, that's a good indication that you should continue to create more content on that theme or create similar content that's going to get a lot of engagement. When people share with their friends, that's essentially free advertising or earned media for you. So how do you maintain a content calendar, and how do you create one? We've already developed out our buyer personas. That's important. Then you also need to understand what funnel, where they are in the funnel, where they are in the buying process. Then you do an internal content audit. Make a list of all of your collateral, all of your blog posts, all of your case studies, all your white papers, all your videos, everything, all the content that you have, and determine how that matches up to your buyer personas and how that matches to the stage of the buying process that they are in. So if you've got that executive level travel buyer persona and he is in the education phase, what collateral do you have that's going to match him? Then take a look at your mom buying persona and know that she's in the qualification phase. She's actually comparing products right now, so you want to make sure that you provide content for her. Once you determine what you have, now you can determine what you need. You can do post-audit brainstorming. Make sure you map out all of your content onto your content calendar, and then fill in what types of content you need to create. Then you put it all on a publishing calendar or an editorial calendar. You need to determine when you're going to publish that content and who is going to write that content. Oftentimes, internal sources are the best, while other times external sources are helpful. To have an effective content strategy, you need to create consistent, relevant content. That is the most important thing about a content marketing strategy. So if you don't have the internal resources to create high-quality content, you can use companies like TextBroker. TextBroker has more than 100,000 authors that are skilled content marketers. They can create content for you that you can then ultimately post, edit, and fill into your editorial calendar to make sure that it's in line with your brand messaging. But they can help you quickly and effectively build out content that you can then publish on your calendar. Make sure that you stick to a calendar. For each company, it's different how often you want to post, but make sure that you are consistently publishing good, high-quality content, not just one-off posts and one-off things, but looking at them holistically and creating one piece of content that you can share across multiple channels that's going to be findable by your users. Another important thing here is to make sure that your content has keywords in it. You can research your keywords by looking at Google Analytics and determining what words are people putting into the search query to get back to you and your brand. You can use pay-per-click or Google AdWords tools to understand what kind of keywords you should include and what your competitors are using for keywords. Then you need to keep those keywords in mind when you're creating any content. If you keep consistent keywords and a consistent message with high valuable content that relates to your buyer personas, you will have a successful marketing strategy. So I appreciate you joining our webinar today, and we will now take a few questions. Thank you.
We actually do have a few questions. How do you determine the buyer persona?
That depends on each company, but you can, most of the time I talk to the sales staff and I try to understand who are the people buying our products and who do we want to sell to. Oftentimes there's a variety of buyer personas that will be in there, and it depends on the type of company that you're looking at. So you could have if you're looking at travel in the example that I said before, there's executive level travelers that are traveling for work. There's people that are traveling with their families. There's people that are those rare individual travelers. So you want to determine what kind of messaging do they want to hear. That executive level person that travels for work probably has different needs in travel than someone traveling with children that rarely travels. So you want to create messaging for them that's going to resonate with what they do. If you're selling enterprise level software, you might be, maybe your end user is a marketing manager, for example, but the ultimate buyer is going to be the CEO. So you want to make sure that you create different messaging for the user and the buyer. Oftentimes, the people have different needs when using particular products, and you want to make sure that you are addressing all of those needs and speaking specifically to those buyer personas.
Okay, great. I have another one here. When people start sharing your content, is there a risk of it being oversaturated and therefore affecting your search rank negatively?
In my opinion, no, not from sharing high quality relevant content. That does not apply, however, if you're looking at a content farm or people that are specifically posting your content just for backlinks to your website. that kind of content can negatively affect you. But if you're creating high quality, interesting content like blogs and case studies or infographics that people are organically interested in and sharing, it will only positively affect you because Google's going to view you as a high quality content source and a thought leader. And ultimately what they want to do is match their consumers with the best possible search results. So if you've got content out there that's being shared and engaged with and people are commenting and sharing and reposting, that can only help you. However, you want to be careful not to try to go around Google algorithms and pay people to go out and post and share and backlink, because ultimately that can be determined by Google algorithms and it can negatively affect you.
Great. Another person has a pretty intelligent question about PPC. Should we use PPC to get an idea of what people are looking for? You basically using their ad data to decide what keywords to use. Do you think people in the research stage click on ads?
Absolutely. I think PPC is an important component. PPC is, for those of you that don't know that term, it's pay per click, and that's when you pay for specific keywords so that you show up in the top and right-hand side of the search page. So if you're searching for travel with kids, for example, you might see up in the very top 3 results and all along the side advertisements for companies that can help lead you to those sites. You might see TripAdvisor and Travelocity, Hilton Hotels, and things like that. Using PPC can be very beneficial to helping with your content strategy because you can determine what ads are resonating. People certainly are clicking on ads in the brand awareness or education phase. And then you can determine which keywords are converting better. So that means that if you paid for a keyword, travel with kids, your ad showed up in the top and then someone clicked on it and ultimately made a reservation to your hotel, you can tell that travel with kids is a great keyword for you to use because you're actually getting customers from it. Then you can take that knowledge that you got from your PPC analytics and create other types of content that can help with your organic SEO, meaning that you're not in the paid search area, but that you're at the top of the results on the page for Google.
Fantastic. I don't have another question, but I do have a comment. This person just loves TextBroker, has been using it for almost a year, and has built websites that generate over 150,000 visitors a month, and
Wow.
is going to be recommending TextBroker in their new products. So that's fantastic, and we love hearing that stuff, and we'd love to hear more about what happens and to follow up with you. So it's always great to hear that stuff.
That is great. Okay, well, thanks. And again, if anybody has any future questions or you want to talk to us, you can find us at TextBroker on Twitter. You can also find us on LinkedIn and Facebook. Dave will be posting this video to YouTube and also to SlideShare, and you can contact me directly at jenbeaucret@textbroker.com. Thank you so much for attending.